Gut is king, but most brands think that they can match it with their multifilaments.
We are not sure if that's true or not, so we're going to put some multifilaments and some gut through their paces to find out. Today we have a couple, well, 3 in fact, of our V-Core 100s. We have strung 1 in a full bed of natural gut, and in the other 2 we are putting a couple of Technofibers multifilament strings through their paces. X1 biphase and NRG2 to be exact.
Yes, and these are very high-end, very well-regarded multifilament strings. Multifilament strings often described by their manufacturer as being or having a gut-like feel, yes, or being close to gut, or the best natural gut that is a natural gut, that sort of thing. So we want to work out whether that is actually true, whether it is worth going natural gut, or whether you can get away with that natural gut feel in a cheaper option.
Yes, essentially they are claiming to be as good or as close to natural gut as possible. Essentially we're just going to find out if that is true or not.
Yes, so we have the original, the classic, possibly the best natural gut, and that's Babolat VS Touch 1.3 gauge, strung at 55 pounds.
Yes, and it is rivals today. We have Technofiber NRG2, which is a 1.32 gauge, and X1 biphase, which is a 1.3 gauge, the same as the gut. They are all strung at 55.
Yep.
They are all in V-Core 100s. The V-Core 100s have been matched, so they are exactly the same. As usual, same stringer, same machine, same atmospheric pressure.
Yes, yeah, which is vital.
Yeah, really makes a big difference,
yeah,
atmospheric pressure, especially when stringing with natural gut.
Yes, exactly. We're going to put these through their paces across our regular categories. We're going to get on court, give them a go, and see whether it is worth the money to go full gut.
Let's go.
As you can see, we've just come off court, having tested these rackets.
Yeah. They were good fun, weren't they?
They were very good fun.
Very good fun. These are, well, initial reaction, whatever we picked up, whether it was a natural gut or either of these multifilaments, they felt absolutely fantastic. But
yes,
a significant difference.
Yeah, and I think I've certainly never played with a full bed of natural gut, so that was a real treat. I also haven't played much multifilaments, much more used to playing with polys, much more used to how they respond. So really interesting to get these high-end multis up against the gut. Your first thoughts, Ben?
So straight away, there is a big difference in how these strings feel.
Yeah.
Like trying to recreate natural gut seems like a little bit of a fool's errand. Mm-hmm. Like it's basically impossible. If this is as close as we've come, we're still miles away from replicating that feeling.
Yes, there is no feeling like natural gut. You get that, obviously you get that with the full bed. You also get it if you go gut in the mains and something else in the crosses, in a hybrid or blend. So yes, there is nothing like the feel of natural gut. But in terms of other qualities, in terms of ball outcome, in terms of the way that they play, actually quite similar.
Yes, agreed. Yeah,
I would agree. That's what I would say as my first thoughts.
Yes. So if we delve in to, let's start with power, as we always do.
Yeah.
This is probably where one of the biggest differences.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think the natural gut, you do get more power. It really feels not trampolining, because that's sort of a negative, but it really feels like you get a load of like spring and
pop.
Pop out of the natural gut. Which you don't get with the multis.
No, it is way crisper, sharper, that kind of lively response, which we know is because of its perfect 100 out of 100 resilience peak.
Yes.
There you go. So it's that sharpness, it's that ability to reshape, to reform, snap back into its natural shape, and we're talking
Yes, yeah, so we're not talking snapback like we get with a sort of a well lubricated poly string, which move back and forth on the strings. We're talking about essentially when the ball goes whoop back into the racket and then strings back into shape.
Yeah. So you can definitely sense that is happening sharper and faster with natural gut, and then the outcome is significantly more powerful.
Yes, it is.
So when it comes to power, no doubt, natural gut gives you more than these multifilaments.
Yes.
However, we're going to change the order up slightly. We're going to go for control now, and this is kind of non-surprisingly the exact opposite. What I found anyway. There is significantly more control with these multifilament strings. essentially because of the characteristics, the way they play, is just that little bit softer, little bit more manageable. Almost.
Yeah. So it's difficult because I think that because you get such incredible feel from the natural gut, in terms of that sort of control on contact, the natural gut's great, but in terms of outcome, yes, because it's got that extra power, because you've got all that sort of dynamic movement in the strings, yes, it can feel difficult to control the outcome quite in the same way that you can with the multis.
And again, like we often say, it's not that the natural gut is powerful and the multifilaments aren't, it's just there is more power in the natural gut, more control in these, but again, we are talking small-ish margins. It's not a whitewash in either direction.
No,
sure.
Exactly. Now, in terms of spin, obviously polys are the reason they're so prevalent on the tour is that they are the king of spin. And you certainly feel in both the multis and in the natural gut that you're not getting the same access to spin that you would get from a polyester string. I would say that I think you probably get slightly more out of the multis than you do out of the gut. I think the gut is fantastic. If you're going to play flat, you're going to crush through the ball and that sort of thing. If you want to generate more topspin especially, multi is probably the way to go.
But with both, you're going to have to work significantly harder than if you are using a poly string.
Yes.
This isn't revolutionary information. I'm sure everyone watching already knows this, but it really does play out. And essentially, I guess what we're saying is you wouldn't choose either of these based on their ability, on their spin ability.
Yes.
Good word, isn't it? So they are not easy to get spin from, but not impossible. It's just harder work than you're probably used to if you use a poly. You're going to get more with the multifilaments than the gut, but again, probably less than both than you'd be expecting.
Yeah, so if you're not worried about the sort of a helping hand in spin creation, then absolutely no problem. If your racket speed's really good, if you really rip up the back of that ball and create loads on your own, fine. But if you're looking for a little bit of help, which I think a lot of modern players are, then you're probably going to go poly rather than these. But we're talking about natural gut and multifilament, and I think overall on spin, you're going to go multi.
Yeah, so touch and feel, then we touched on it before. Nothing feels like natural gut.
No.
These feel incredibly nice. They are really, really nice strings to play with. No criticisms at all, but they do not feel like natural gut.
No, gut is gut. There is no better feel. There is no better way to glide the ball around the court than with natural gut. There's not really any point in talking about it anymore. Gut feels exceptional and like nothing else. It actually might be, to be fair, it might be that you prefer the feel of a poly because you're used to it or whatever, but nothing feels like this. Nothing gives you the feel through the hand like natural gut does. Yeah. We must, of course, talk tension maintenance.
It's not a YouTube video without tension maintenance, is it?
No. On the edge of your seats, I'm sure. Now, in terms of polys, if you were ranking them, polys would be the worst at maintaining tension. They start dropping very quickly. And then you get to these boys. Gut at the pinnacle of tension maintenance.
Can't get better at maintaining tension than natural gut.
Especially if you pre-stretch, which we obviously do because we're nothing if not thorough.
Yes. Multifilaments are very good at tension maintenance, just not as good as natural gut, but way better than a poly.
Yes, so we've been playing with these for a few days, so it's not fair of us to make a sort of decision now based on things. They are better than polys after a few weeks. If you get in touch with us and say, hey, how did it go with their tension maintenance on those strings, we'll be happy to respond.
Yes, the big thing to remember with natural gut is that it's going to hold its tension, but it's probably not going to have a huge amount of life in it. So quite often natural gut breaks before you get that big drop off. Polyester is the exact opposite. They will last forever but will lose their playability. And again, multifilaments, like Goldilocks, sitting right in the middle. Goldilocks ref.
Yes, nice.
It's good, isn't it?
Worth mentioning, let's throw in another category.
Yes.
Should probably throw in price.
This is the issue here.
Yes.
So we're talking UK prices here, but a natural gut full bed restring like this is going to cost you around £70.
Yeah.
These multifilaments, again, still quite expensive, but about half, like 35, 40 max, depending on who's stringing them and where you're getting them done. That is a significant difference that cannot be overlooked.
No, and that's really the decision that you're going to be making in reality. Is it worth the money for the feel, for the extra bit of power that you get with gut? Bear in mind, you're probably going to have to restring more frequently with gut as well. is it worth it in your mind? Would you go gut
Well,
based on that?
so this is an analogy that I was trying to come to the conclusion. I think I've got it. And natural gut is like a Ferrari. It is as good as you can get, but you're always going to be a little bit worried about it. You spend loads of money on it. You've got to make sure it doesn't get wet. You've got to make sure it doesn't get hot, doesn't get cold.
You can't drive it over a speed bump too fast.
Exactly, all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Whereas the multifilaments feel almost more like, I can't remember what car I use, like a Golf GTI or something like that. Still loads of fun, but without all the inconvenience and the worry and the stress. So for half the price, I don't think you get half the benefits.
No.
So for me, being, I would say, please don't be offended, slightly more sensible than you are perhaps, that I'm going to go for the multifilaments because I can't see enough benefit in the natural gut to warrant paying that much more money.
So I think it's fair, and I take no offence in being called less sensible than Ben. I think that I would have to separate them out more, in the sense that if I was going for something that was an approximation of gut, I just wouldn't bother.
Yes.
I wouldn't try and aim for an approximation. If I love the multi, which I do really love both these strings, they're really, really beautiful strings to play with, that's fine, it sits on their own. But in terms of a replacement for gut, it's not. Gut is gut, and this is this. And I think that I would probably, if I was to have the money, well, I'd actually go for a gut poly hybrid, but that's by the by.
Well, so interestingly, just through this conversation, I guess kind of the conclusion we're coming to is, if these were sold as really, really nice multifilament strings on their own, we'd be really, really positive. But because they are sold as a natural gut substitute replacement version of, they do suffer for it. It's actually, it was almost a mistake to try and compare them. If we did these separately on their own, we'd have nothing but good things to say.
Yes.
But as soon as you try and compare it to natural gut, they start to suffer.
I also think that in part of me, it's a sort of, it'd be a sort of, it's a flex, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're playing with natural gut. You're like, oh, well, yeah, well, the field's unparalleled, so why would I choose anything else? In actual fact, the reality is these are absolutely terrific. They're just different to this.
I guess in summary, what we are saying is, if you've never played with natural gut, you've got to give it a try. A full bed is very opulent.
Oh yes.
Yes, maybe a little bit excessive, you could say. It's great in a hybrid with a good poly. We use Alu Power in one of our other videos. You may have seen that. It might be coming out soon, you never know. But if you cannot afford and you don't want to go quite so excessive, you can't go wrong trying a full bed of multifilaments.
Yeah.
Still great, just not as good.
Yeah, just make sure you go for a really good one like these, NRG2 and X1 biphase from Technofiber.
Well,
as always, don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, share with your friends so you never miss a thing from PH Tennis.
thanks for watching.